President Trump, during his time in office, even before during the campaign, brought a lot of unprecedented things to the Oval Office, some good, some bad. There was tweeting to name-calling to siding with Vladimir Putin over election interference, but he's gone. He's out of the Oval Office. And tomorrow, he might, in his presidency, might bring about the most unprecedented event ever involving a president or a former president in American history. That may be very bad. An otherwise unknown district attorney, Fani Willis of Georgia, might indict the former president for trying to overturn the 2020 election. Here she is yesterday talking about the need to keep the grand jury report about President Trump's actions in Georgia after the election secret.
We want to make sure that everyone is treated fairly. And we think for future defendants to be treated fairly, it's not appropriate at this time to have this report released. Because you having seen that report, decisions are imminent.
All right. Thank you.
Two words stick out there: defendants, plural, and imminent. Other media speculates it could be tomorrow that there will be an announcement. The key piece of evidence will likely be President Trump's call with Georgia election officials just after he lost, but before January 6th. Take a listen.
You don't need much of a number, because the number that, in theory, I lost by, the margin would be 11,779. Look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have.
George Wills here, senior NewsNation contributor, Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist. Good to see you, sir. As always, whether there's a crime or not is for a jury to decide. We can stipulate that President Trump did some pretty awful and at times un-American things after the 2020 election. That said, is the precedent of a local DA investigating and then indicting a former president for actions in office a good precedent?
It's a terrible precedent, Leland. And remember, she is an elected DA. That is, there's an enormous temptation when you have elected people in the criminal justice system for grandstanding. Now, there's an old saying in the law we've all heard, which is that any really determined district attorney can get a grand jury to indict a ham sandwich. Grand juries are easily dominated and manipulated. That's why the political temptation becomes a really important thing here. Now, in the phone call you just played the tape of, the president doesn't order anyone to find them. He says, I want to find 11,000 more votes. Now, one of his principal advisors, Rudy Giuliani, who is a bit of a lunatic by this point, said he had seen suitcases full of votes that weren't counted. Well, prove it. Mr. Trump himself said, we have seen on tape ballot stuffing and other offenses against democratic due process. Well, find the tape and show it. So there are a lot of unanswered questions here, but then when these accusations get made, there usually are.
Yeah, I think you say, though, he did not say, I'm ordering you to find these votes. And he really couldn't, because the Secretary of State of Georgia, the governor of Georgia, doesn't work for him. That said, possible charges that could come out of this DA: conspiring to commit election fraud, criminal solicitation to commit election fraud, solicitation to engage in illegal tampering, soliciting the counterfeiting of electoral ballots, questionable, racketeering, corrupt influence organizations, who knows? But if you're saying, I want to find these votes, on and on and on, and encouraging someone to find votes that a reasonable person would know wasn't true or wasn't right, that does sound like a crime, or should be.
You bring in the idea of a reasonable person. I'm not sure how many of those are involved here. The problem, Leland, is this. Suppose Mr. Trump believed the fact that this had been stolen, and whether he's sincere or not, I can't tell you, but suppose he believes it. It is not a crime to be a lunatic. It is not a crime to have bizarre constitutional theories, as a number of his lawyers did.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.